You ever scroll through your feed and just get that feeling? You know the one. You see these perfect lives, these incredible romantic gestures, and you can't help but ask yourself, is my life okay? Well, let's get right into that. We're going to dive into the psychology behind why so many of us feel this pressure to perform our lives, especially our relationships, instead of, just living them.
I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? The surprise trip to Rome, the sunset proposal with the perfect caption that reads like a love poem. Our first thought is always, wow, goals. But is it? Is that what love really looks like? Or is it a show for all of us? Does that one perfect filtered picture really say anything about the day-to-day reality of a relationship? And this leads us to this really fascinating idea I like to call the perfect picture paradox. It's this growing gap, this giant canyon between the life we put on display for everyone else and the one we're actually living behind the scenes. It's all about the tension between the performance and the real, actual connection. Let's be honest, our culture is completely obsessed with these highlight reels. We are just surrounded by these huge Instagrammable gestures. Dates that are designed more for the photo op than the conversation. Public declarations that feel a little staged. It's like we've built a world where relationships are judged by how good they look online, not how they actually feel. Okay, but that begs a really important question, doesn't it? What about all the time between the photos? What about the quiet mornings, the tough talks, the goofy inside jokes that nobody else would ever get? Are we so busy chasing the big, flashy moments that we're accidentally letting the real foundation of our relationships just crumble? So this whole thing really sets up two totally different ways of looking at a relationship. On one side, you've got performing, which is all about getting that approval from the outside. And on the other, you've got connecting, which is about building that solid internal sense of security. Let's really break down what that looks like. I mean, this chart just lays it all out so clearly. The performance is the big, grand gesture. It's totally Instagrammable, symbolic, and it feeds on public validation, the likes, the comments. But connection? That's built in the tiny, everyday moments. Some experts call them bids for connection. They're all about creating private security. They feel authentic. It's really the difference between doing something for an audience and doing something just for the two of you. So what in the world are these bids? Well, think of them as these tiny, almost invisible little actions that just whisper, hey, I see you. I'm thinking about you. I'm on your team. It's making them a cup of coffee just the way they like it without the masking. It's that quick text during a crazy day. These things aren't glamorous, right? You're not going to post about them, but they are the actual glue that holds a relationship together. Every single one is like a small deposit in this shared bank account of trust. All right, so we get what the performance looks like. We've all seen it. But the really interesting question is, why do we do it? Why do we feel this pull to put on a show? Well, it turns out there's a pretty powerful psychological theory that gets right to the heart of this whole thing. It's a bit of a mouthful. It's called Symbolic Self-Completion Theory. But the idea is actually pretty simple. When we feel insecure about a really important part of who we are, like, say, being a good partner, we start looking for symbols to display to the world to prove that we're doing okay. It's not just about convincing others. It's about convincing ourselves. To put it really simply, it's a compensation game. If you're deep down worried your relationship isn't that strong, you might suddenly feel this intense urge to post the most epic, romantic photo ever. You're trying to show the world, and yeah, maybe even yourself, that everything's great. It's kind of like when someone feels like they aren't very smart, so they start using a bunch of big words they don't really understand. The performance is there to cover up the insecurity. And this creates a really dangerous cycle. It all starts with that nagging feeling inside, that insecurity. That feeling makes you desperate for a big, powerful symbol, a grand gesture. Then you perform that gesture for an audience. You put it up on social media. And finally, you're waiting for the validation, the likes, the comments, to make that bad feeling go away. But here's the trap. That relief is temporary because it's based on an audience, not on a real connection. So once you understand this cycle, it all comes full circle. It shows us exactly why those little unseen moments, those bids for connection, are so incredibly powerful. They're the key to actually breaking free from that whole performance trap. And here it is, the core of it all. A life that's built on performance is just an exhausting, endless chase for the next hit of validation. But a life built on genuine connection,
That creates a deep internal security that doesn't need an audience to survive. One is fragile and needs applause. The other is resilient, and it can stand all on its own.
Now, let me be super clear here. This is not about hating on big romantic gestures. A surprise trip can be an amazing, beautiful thing. The real goal here is to get honest with ourselves about the motivation. Is this big gesture coming from a place of genuine connection that's already there? Or is it a performance designed to patch over a feeling of insecurity? It's really all about self-awareness, not about judging anyone else. Which, at the end of the day, leaves us all with one final, really important question to ask ourselves. When you look at your life, your relationships, the choices you're making, are you building something that's meant to be watched? Or are you building something that's meant to be lived?